Yeah, you're in.
Okay, I'm just waiting for it to pop up on mine.
Get my arm strengthening egg right here. Let's go. The camera seems a little close. Are we in the picture?
I can't even see on mine.
You know, the stuff always cuts off. You get an ad straight out of the box?
I don't. It popped right up. Hey, wildlife, you must be up. Of course you're up. Duh, you're in the U.S.
U.S. Open is going down.
Duh, we're in the U.S. There we go. Okay. See?
Wow, we ready to roll?
Do you like how you look?
I don't even care. I'm so excited right now. It's incredible. And I'm going to get to that in a second. But I'm happy. I'm like ecstatic at this point right now because I just got the most incredible news probably ever. Maybe ever. You know, I had this rant day yesterday where I just went off. And now I'm just
due to that rant, yeah.
Deal with it.
We were removed from certain things.
Yeah. I mean, how is it? Tell me this. So we get treated like children in a tournament, and then we get removed from their social media stuff. Ooh, wow. Hurts me so bad. Shouldn't have treated us like shit. All right. We ready to go?
Do you like the way that lighting looks?
What do I mean,
all right,
I
cool.
don't particularly care. All right, ready to roll?
Yeah, let's go.
Is the lighting wrong?
I don't know.
I mean, let's go.
All right.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
All right, hello and welcome back to another 5K tennis discussion. It is day one of the U.S. Open, and I'm so excited about something. I must kind of put this into perspective, but what's the date today? I forgot what the date was.
Isn't it
August 31st?
Yeah.
All right, so today is Monday, lunes, as they would say it in Spanish, español. Today is Augusto, is that right?
Agosto.
Augusto.
Agosto.
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 Agosto. It is Augusto 31.
It's not Augusto. Agosto.
All right, it's August 31st, 2020, and we are here for another 5K tennis discussion. And I must make this announcement right now. Our oldest of 5 children just made the Division I Air Force Academy tennis team. Let's go! What? Worked hard for that. Always stayed humble, always stayed true, and made the team. Hard work, perseverance. We weren't padding draws for him. We weren't creating wins for him. We just made him suck it up and deal with it. And that he did. D1, baby. Let's roll. Let's go, Jonathan.
He had to play like a round robin. Whoever won all their matches would make the team, basically. So he did.
Let's get down.
So, yeah. He was joking with me. He said, "Oh, I lost today." And I'm like, "Are you serious?" My heart kind of sunk for him because he said this would be the easiest opponent of all.
I think the ultimate goal as coaches of kids, or the reason why you play the game, is to succeed at it and make money at it, or to succeed at it and play it in college. Mm-hmm. And the highest level of college is Division I. And Jonathan did that. Let's go. So you can treat me like shit at your tournaments. You can whisper in my ear and tell me some bullshit. However, we made it. Good luck to you.
He probably won't play 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Doesn't matter.
He'll be in the team.
He's on the D1 team. He made it. Let's roll. Let's talk, definitely. Right?
Yeah.
All right. So how I want to start this show today actually is going to be kind of a lead off from where we left off yesterday. So we're going to start this show today with some viewer comments. We talked yesterday about Novak Djokovic and his separation from the player council and or however that went down. And I will admit that Carla and I, we heard about it and we read into it a little bit. But shortly thereafter that, we had 2 really good comments. One from Ivan, or I hope that's how we pronounce this, but Ivan. And as soon as Ivan wrote this kind of clip, we read it, we absorbed it, we were really excited about it because it was a really good comment. And then shortly thereafter, a longtime viewer that kind of keeps me especially in check is Sister the Queen, the beautifully written poetic justice writing herself, Sister the Queen. So Sister the Queen, if you are out there, and I know you'll catch this eventually, we're going to read your comment too. So these 2 comments as we start the show before we get into first round action has to do with people's opinions and takes on why Novak Djokovic split from, I'm just going to leave it at that.
Left the ATP Council.
Yeah. So let's go with Ivan's comment first, or Ivan. I don't know how you pronounce that correctly. I think he's relatively new to the channel, but his comment...
He's not that new, no.
His comment is right here, right now, and I thought it enabled us to shut up and just read his comment. Whether Serbian, I don't know if he's in Serbia. I know 11% of our viewers are there. but his comment deserves some respect, and this is to the queen. All right, let's roll with Ivan's comment. Or Ivan, or, correct.
Ivan Stinasevljevic. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. That's the refrigerator.
I'm going to shut the door. Read his comment.
At 36 and 30 minutes on yesterday's show, he says, I have to disagree, man. Novak does not want equality, but rather to help these lower-ranked players. Players who are outside of the top 150 can't even make a living. Their expenses are bigger than their earnings. I would not be surprised if he takes care of some of them. If you are number 200 or 300 in the world, you can't make a living in tennis, and I don't want to mention to save some money for later. If you are a basketball or football player, you clearly can. The point is, these guys are still very good. If you are top 300 in every other profession, you are going to have a lot of money. Top 10 guys are earning a lot. They can all give some money to those lower rated guys. If they don't want to, that's okay. But if there are players who are willing to do so, Novak was clearly one of them during the pandemic, let them and don't behave like Roger and Rafa. They really sounded like corporate chills. Now, it's not my right. We need unity and a bunch of other political correct nonsense. If you are in the top 300 in the world, regardless of what you do, you are really good at it and you deserve to make a living out of it. Go watch a video of how much money do tennis players make, including me, by Ivan Hoyt. His career high is 217 and the struggle is real. Just because you're on the ATP list does not mean that you're a professional. It was easy for these guys to donate some money to help fight fires in Australia, for example, but they can't help their lower rated colleagues. Maybe Novak wants to open some kind of foundation to help them. There will always be people who will be willing to do so. It's just a matter of where you cross the line. Can't help all ATP guys on tours, or you can't help them with the same amount of money, that's for sure. If you don't want to give your money, that's totally okay, and you're not a bad person. As for why Djokovic left the ATP, he thinks that players don't have enough power, not only for finance, but rather for some changes that are happening. For instance, nobody told him that the court speed is going to change in the US. They only found out about it when it happened. ATP does not care about players' opinions on anything, and that's a big problem. As I continue to listen to the stream, it seems that you guys were all for helping lower rated guys, so that's cool.
This is a wonderful statement, and we're going to move quickly to Sister the Queen's comment because it deserves reading too. However, with that said, Ivan or Ivan speaks nothing but the truth. Let's look at, let's say, the NFL, the National Football League here in the U.S., or let's look at the soccer leagues in Europe. Let's look at the contract, like what is Lionel Messi is like a $1 billion type contract. Anyway, if you look at American football, I think there is a entry minimum. In other words, I think if you make, and I say I think, and someone can call me out on this, B-Doggo2 would be a good one. But I think there is a league minimum. In other words, if you make the squad, and if you make the team or the traveling team, not the practice squad, but if you make the team, there's a league minimum. In other words, if you're a 4-string center or a 4-string wide receiver or a 4-string linebacker, there's a league minimum where you make like, $270,000 a year or something, and you don't even play. If you're a 3rd-string quarterback, there's a league minimum. It's like $250,000 a year, even if you don't even play. So I really took, when I read his comment, I knew this already, but I was reminded of the fact that maybe I neglected to understand it. So I think what the goal is to assist, but I don't know how that goal will necessarily pan out. Now let's shift gears for a second, and then we'll open up discussion as a whole, and let's read Sister the Queen's comment. So I don't know if you have it yet, but I think it's relatively important. Ivan or Ivan is absolutely correct. If you're a pro athlete, that means you have basically involved your entire life, your entire livelihood. Everything you know is going to involve that one sport. And here you are at the pro level, but there isn't a league minimum. There isn't a minimum fee, or not fee, but there isn't a minimum income.
What's up? Let's go. Cam Williams. Hello.
Oh, Cam Williams, real quick. I hate to.
I chose Zverev.
I hate to pause, but Cam, you were the only person that chose Zverev in the fantasy group, and Gene Swart, by the way, was the only person that chose Kevin Anderson. So you and Gene Swart, who watches every one of your broadcasts and loves it, as we all do, Gene Swart chose Kevin Anderson. So Gene Swart, you lost that one, bro. So what I'm going to do, Cam, this one's for you. If you actually win the fantasy team giveaway or the fantasy team prize giveaway and you actually win, I'm going to include my Zverev shirt that I wore when I was giving him hell.
With a special headband?
Yeah, I won't give it a headband. Yeah. But nonetheless, I will give you that. But however, if you don't win, I want the red and black shirt you've been wearing. So in other words, if you're really gutsy, if you win, I'll give you this as well as the other stuff. You don't have to give me anything. But if you lose, I want the lumberjack shirt. Cool? All right.
Derek Edwardson says league minimum for a rookie in the NFL is $495,000 a year.
Bam!
Jeez.
Who said that?
Derek Edwardson.
Knowledge drop. That's what I'm talking about. So do you think okay, so you could put into context the challenger level players are the fourth string quarterbacks or the fourth string wide receivers, and what do they get when they grind it out year round, Carla? You know, you've been there. What do they get, Carla?
What, as a tennis player?
As income. As a challenger.
You get nothing. You're losing money. You're losing money. You're putting more into it to try to get something out of it.
Are you able to pay for your hotel rooms?
No, not even the price. Even if you were to win a challenger, I think it's $1,000. They have some that are 10. You don't win because they're dividing 1,000 amongst all the players, 10,000 amongst all the players. So your paycheck basically just maybe cover if you win the tournament one night's hotel and meals.
Now, can I ask you a question? Is your coach for free?
No. They charging as you're going with you traveling.
If you have a fitness trainer or
you wouldn't have a fitness
if you have a nutritionist or can you pay for that?
No.
Can you pay for your cab fare to and from courts? Can you
couldn't.
Can you really pay for anything more besides unhealthy fast food?
Some people ended up like staying at homes where people would sponsor them and let them stay.
Airbnbs and stuff like that.
Yeah. Cam says, by the way, haha, I put my faith in Zverev for the last time, so fingers crossed. Haha, it's my favorite shirt, but I'll happily accept your custom Zverev shirt, not the headband though. So he saw that show. Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, we were headed to a doctor's appointment today, bro, and so I broke my arm, and I won't get into this, but I broke my arm, and they wanted to put screws and plates in it when it happened, but because of being athletic and coaches, they didn't want to put a plate in my arm because they knew it would bother me, and then they would have to go in and remove the plate. So for the past, I think, like 15 weeks now, they've been letting it heal on its own. And so we were driving into town, which is Mobile, which is like 40 or 50 minutes away. And we had your broadcast on through the Bluetooth speakers in the car, had a really good time with it. So thanks as always, bro. You're really good at what you do, and it brings happiness to our lives. So thank you very much so.
Definitely. Wildlife says it's all about popularity and therefore income for a particular sport. There's way more money to go around the NFL. That being said, tennis could be redistributed what prize money they have. I agree.
It's agreed. So how it pans out, we shall see. But let's shift over to Sister to Queen's comment. Now, Sister to Queen is a wonderful person, a brilliant writer. She's in California, and she's a really family-oriented young lady, but loves tennis, travels to see tournaments. She's been to a couple, I think, like ATP finals with her mother or something.
Sure, yeah.
She really soaks in the game. So I thought that between Yvonne's comment and Sister to Queen's, I thought they should both be read.
Okay. Sister to Queen. Happy belated birthday, Carla. I know I'm super late. On tennis and the tours, if anybody wants an alternative perspective on why not only Roger, Rafa, and Murray did not back the PTPA, but also 6 men out of the 10-member player councils, they should head over to Sergei Stavkowski's Twitter page. I would also recommend reading Novak's letter that went out to players along with the letter that went out to the Players' Council. It isn't as simple as getting lower-ranked players paid, but how to maneuver within the tour. The PTPA want more power. Granted, I think players should have more power, but I fail to see how the PTPA will achieve that when all of the governing bodies that have already stated that they have no interest in working with an alternate association and fully back the ATP. The Players' Council figure it is better to have some seat at the table than no seat at all, especially when tournaments themselves are struggling right now and are likely to be more aggrieved at players making demands during a pandemic. In my opinion, any player looking for a drastic change needs to be willing to boycott tournaments. So the question is whether Novak and the company are ready to boycott once they find the tournaments will not recognize them. I say good luck. Also, a few things to note. A, the PTA/PA is not a players' union, as tennis players are independent contractors and not employees like NBA, etc. B, to Justin's argument about men versus women bringing in more revenue, well, tournaments ultimately think the same way. Lower ranked players don't bring in the big bucks, so why should they worry about shelling out more money for them? C, Nadal and Federer have too many ties with the ATP to split, and they've cultivated those ties over decades. Federer was a council president for 6 years, saw prize money increase during his tenure, and now has the Laver Cup recognized as an ATP event. Nadal's academy hosts an ATP Challenger event into Spain, so they are, in my opinion, more inclined to look at tennis from both player and tournament sides. I am all for player coalition of sorts, but I don't think the PTPA has a clear plan of action, nor do I think they're prepared to handle potential consequences should tournaments decide to completely disengage. I also don't personally trust the leadership. For all of Novak's good intentions, he did organize the Adria Tour and plunged the Players' Council in turmoil just last year, which is why Federer and Nadal even rejoined to begin with. He's only stated that the slams should be the best of 3 for men, which I completely disagree with, so I wouldn't be following him into any tennis revolution, but I wish him well.
I mean, incredibly well said. It's hard to debate either her statement or Yvonne or Ivan's statement, because they're incredibly well written and they're incredibly well researched. Both of these statements are, in my opinion, something that should be in front of everyone that cares about the game, because you're reading two sides of the story in which there's very prudent points. I must bring up into this statement, we can't forget about the coaches. Again, I've spent 22 years of my life, I'm 42, and coaching began 22 years ago for myself. And we can't forget about the coaches within this. So and let me explain this. So we hear about the players and the players' councils, but gee whiz, I think there should be something that protects the coaches as well. Let me explain. You know, these coaches, besides Patrick Mortagalou, that obviously pops up in every camera shoot because he has some type of homage or sponsorship there above, but you never see any other coach. You see the French silky smooth dude for some reason. Obviously, there's some ties there to media, but let's step aside from that guy. Let's look at every other coach besides Jack in the Box, Patrick Mortagalou, and ask these coaches, how do you survive? The majority of tennis coaches at the pro level have no contracts. They are hire and fire at will. So let's look at Dominic Thiem for a second. Do you remember when he hired Thomas Muster for a little while? Mm-hmm. And maybe I'm over exaggerating it, but this is just an example. So he hires Thomas Muster. Didn't he win like a major? Did he win the French Open?
He won the French Open.
Anyway, so I'm not going to go back to 80s tennis or whenever he won it, something like that, maybe late 70s, early 80s, and maybe I have that wrong. But nonetheless, so he hires this guy, and you know, Thomas Muster is a feisty, fighting tennis player. Love to have that guy in my camp. But anyway, so it didn't work out, and 2 weeks later he's fired. Now I just say that, and maybe Muster didn't worry about how much money he made, and maybe he already had millions in the bank. I don't care. But the premise is this. A player can hire a coach, fire a coach, and hey, you're gone with the win. But there should be a contractable type set of litigation to protect the coaches as well. Because there's a lot of coaches out there, whether it's at the challenger level, the junior levels, and all across the pro levels, that simply do their best to try to teach a student. And sometimes you get a student like Zverev that hates Lindell and tells his puppy to get off the damn court. What I'm saying is, how can you overcome a spoiled, snooty brat? We talked about on the show yesterday, we went to a tournament and there were some snooty people there. How do you deal with snooty people? So let's say Zverev is a snooty player, you don't gel well. But let's say the coach traveled and did this and did that and left the family and traveled for 2 months and 3 months, and all of a sudden they're in, Spain, and they're from Munich, and all of a sudden they get fired. What do they do? So I think if you're going to separate from a player council, I think there needs to be some patriotism for coaching as well. But I won't go there. But the coaches do need to be protected as well.
I agree. Derek Edwardson says U.S. women's are 1-8 so far today. Yikes. I think it has to do with no fans. I really did. I mean, the American fans always pump their American players, and I really think it has a lot to do with it. Also, a lot of them were younger players.
Yeah.
Much younger players that do need those fans. Example, Coco Gauff. to pump him up.
So dumb me, Carla called me out on the show yesterday, and she said, "Why did you choose Coco Gauff?" And I did the kind of the draw on the fly. I should have studied it more. I picked Coco Gauff, and I didn't realize in round one she was playing Sevitsova, and
a good veteran.
a really good player.
Yeah.
And about 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, we were talking about Coco Gauff and how this tournament would affect her negatively without there being a crowd there. And dumb me forgot about that and picked her anyway.
Yeah, she just lost recently.
Yeah, so I lost Coco Gauff right off on the fantasy team, right off the bat, just like Gene Swart lost Kevin Anderson. And it hurt. But I should have thought about what I said 3 weeks ago. I didn't realize it. But
a lot of these were young players that lost today. But while I said, speaking of Mouratoglou, I'm starting to wonder how long he'll keep popping up in Coco Gauff's players box if she doesn't start going deeper in tournaments.
So does that mean he's selling himself out? Does that mean he's only going to pop up in people's boxes that are winning? That's a really good point.
It seems that way.
That's an incredible point.
It seems that way.
So is Patrick Mouratoglou not selling out yet on Serena because she's so wealthy? Let's say you have.
He's paying her bills right now.
So
she's paying
his bills.
Basically.
So let's say, and this is a great point by Wild Lab One. Let's say that Patrick Mouratoglou signed up with Mladenovic like Sasha Bajin did not terribly long ago.
He wouldn't.
So would he do it if she was winning, and how long would he stick around if she was losing? So this is a great point, but I don't think the likes of Patrick Mouratoglou wants to tangle with selling out on someone, especially someone like Coco Gauff. Now, Coco Gauff has definitely been, and we talked about this, negatively affected by the lack of a crowd. Why? Because a young girl or young anybody, it loves to be drawn into the gladiator pit. You know,
sure.
What ancient Rome, when they threw slaves into the gladiator pit to fight with the lions, and then the crowds erupted. It was because the young gladiators about to have their throats ripped out were being cheered on. So what was that movie, Gladiator?
Gladiator, yeah.
So this is the type thing. Tennis is to mimic a gladiator type setting. One person wins and one person dies, and that's how it should be. In terms of how you walk on the field as a player, how you walk on the court as a player. My job is to beat you and beat you badly. We talked about this the other day. When you have a young player, the crowd is everything, especially when you're used to it. Without a crowd, the young player is left to think, left to dwell, left to get tight, left to push the ball into the court.
I'm shocked that Collins went down. She went down to Kontaveit. They went to 3 sets.
I thought
Collins would beat her. I'm looking here. Caroline Dohai went down to Friedsam. I mean, she's a young player. Francesca Di Lorenzo went down to Sasnovich. That's a veteran player.
Some of you guys picked Sasnovich on your fantasy team.
Haley Batiste, another young player, went down to Mladenovic. So there's another young player right there. There's another example. I have no idea who Ali Kick is from the USA.
Hey, where has Sasha Bajin been in this tournament? Is Sasha Bajin still coaching at the highest level?
He's coaching Yastremska. She is in the 3rd set. She's battling right now. She could go out in the first round.
Who's Yastremska playing?
Tell you right now.
Someone will say it, but Yastremska about 2 months ago was one of the favorites.
She's playing Sharma. They're at 4-0 right now.
In the 3rd set?
In the 3rd set, yeah.
Ooh. And Sasha Bajin, is he popping up in the camera like Patrick Mouratoglou?
I don't know. They didn't show that match, and they don't have. Usually when you have the U.S. Open, they have the 6 channels.
Yeah, it's
going
like
up.
a mixed channel.
6 channels. They don't have that. It's just on ESPN now. So we lost that. Golf goes down to Sevastova. So there's another American player. Kasatkina goes down too. Can you believe Kasatkina went down?
Kasatkina at the U.S.
Wow, what has happened to her?
I think Kasatkina in 2017, check my year on that, I think Kasatkina made a semifinal. Did she make a semifinal?
Her tennis has been horrendous.
Did Kasatkina make a semifinal?
It was Australian.
Australian?
Here's another American who went out. Kaja Juvan takes out Usua Maitani Arconada. Must be a Spanish player, but American descent. It goes down. So there's a lot of American players that went down today. I think Jack Sock lost. I think Cam Williams, you mentioned Jack Sock. I think he lost as well.
Jack Sock, if you had faith in him to actually win a round at the U.S. Open in singles,
so you have to have ESPN 3. So I got to go pay extra. I already got Tennis Channel. Michael Walker said if you have ESPN 3, you got all the courts.
What's up, Michael Walker?
I got to look if I have ESPN 3.
ESPN 3, I think is a computerized version. I think it's an online version. I may be wrong there.
I'm looking at for Sock. Where is Sock? I don't see Sock anywhere. Sock.
How common is it though to get two?
Did he go down? I mean, I don't think he plays. Did Jack Sock play today,
Yeah,
Cam?
he played. He lost.
Did he play today? I don't see his name.
I don't know. I wouldn't have picked him anyway. His belly has been sticking out for 2 years. Has his belly receded? Has he gotten less chubby in the stomach?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe him and Milos Raonic should go hang out. I mean, let's look at Jack Sock's illustrious career. He's been great at doubles. I'll give him that. But his singles career...
Sox won while last night. Sox actually won in 5. Who did he beat, guys?
Well, he better have some fitness in his
Who did
tank.
he beat? Because I don't see his name here. Where is his name? Sock. Okay, there he is. He beat Pablo Cuevas.
That's a good win.
In 5 sets, so that's a good win.
That's a good win.
He faces Monterino next.
Someone picked Pablo Cuevas on the fantasy team, so they lost him, right? So did not Steve Johnson and Opelka, didn't they square off in a match? Weren't they like one set apiece at one point?
Yeah.
I think Steve Johnson and Opelka are still playing.
No, you mean Opelka's playing, not...
No,
John
Steve Esner.
Yes,
Esner and John Opelka. Yeah, they're all the same, man, except Steve Johnson. He's more of off the ground guy, right?
He beat Cuevas, yeah. I just looked at that.
All right. Anyway.
Want to talk about matches today?
Well, yeah, I lost my mind on Jack Sock, trying to figure out how that name even came
Well,
up.
Cam brought him up, so hey.
You can't. If you think Jack Sock is going to go very far in this tournament, I would be shocked. Jack Sock, Jack Sock went to, I think, through the 2017 season and then won like a Paris Masters at the end of the year on a hard court. And I think that gave him, if I remember correctly, and maybe it was 2018, but that gave him an entry, if I'm right or wrong, into the ATP finals at the end of the year. Am I stretching that? Am I wrong there?
Something like that, yeah.
Anyway, after that year, and I may have that slightly off, but after that year, there was just an absolute beer belly that ensued, and fitness lack thereof. And I think he was looking for doubles partners actively, and actually did a lot of damage. I think he was playing with one of the Bryan brothers while the other one was hurt. And did a lot of damage in doubles. So unless his fitness is improved, I don't. And again, I'm not a Jack Sock fan. He's always been, or has been for a long time, known as an asshole in the locker room. Again, don't take that from me. Google it up. But Jack Sock, in my opinion, has always been one to be notated as kind of a butthole. But hey, you can call me out on that one or not. But I think that's relatively true.
I also saw there was a 15-year-old girl, Robin Montgomery. I was reading up on her. She's playing Putintseva, Potty Mouth. She's playing her. 15 years old. They gave her a wild card, so that should be interesting. I have Putintseva on my fantasy.
And that's tomorrow?
But I didn't know. No, it's tonight. I didn't know that I'm going to actually watch her. They show her. 15-year-old. She was excited. She decided to give up her eligibility at the NCAA to go pro.
You know, there's two really feisty girls in the draw, and that's Potty Mouth Putintseva herself, and don't forget Sevitsova. Sevitsova that beat Goff is really feisty.
Jack Sock to win the U.S. Open? Are you nuts, Michael Walker?
Michael
nuts?
Walker.
Come on, you know better. You're joking.
You know that's a joke. Because Michael Walker's got a deep tennis mind. He can go back for like 30 years and just roll off stuff. There's no way he thinks that.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go on with the draw.
All right, let's roll.
Carolina Pliskova played today. Won hers 6-4, 6-0 against Angelina Kalinina from Ukraine. So 6-4, 6-0, good win. We expected that. She's going to face Carolina Garcia from France.
So this is a huge deal for at least my fantasy team because I picked Pliskova on my draw, and I did it so quick. She called me out on the show the other day. She was like, he didn't even look at it. He just... Because I'm not going to win my own prize, so my thought was I'm just going to just kind of pencil whip it and just look out for everybody else. But I picked Pliskova and Garcia on my fantasy team. So I'm going
to lose one.
I'm going to lose one next round, and I already lost golf. So I might as well already tear my sheet of paper out and just throw it away because there's no way I can lose.
Goffin just beat Opelka?
Boom.
Thank you for that.
Who was that? Philly Cheese Dog out there that picked Goffin?
That was Wildlife One who told me. Yeah, Philly Cheese Dog. I told you his name was right. Oh.
What's up?
All right. Next match was Angelique Kerber. I thought she would actually be upset today. She was wearing a pretty white dress. Looked like Angelique Kerber. She beat Tomjanovic 6-4, 6-4. So that was a good match.
I didn't see that. How did her legs look? Was she strong?
She looked like Kerber.
Uh-oh.
I mean, you know, Kerber kind of disappeared. Hopefully she's coming back. She's won 3 slams.
We'll see. I remember she's a lefty, right?
Mm-hmm.
She gets it done.
Well, she's going to end up facing, I thought I saw
Fritzem. Does she play Fritzem next?
Fritzem from Germany, who beat Carolina Dohai from the USA.
Let's go.
Okay. Marketa Vandrushova defeated Grit Minen from Belarus 6-1, 6-4. And will be facing Alexandra Sasnovich.
I have to.
Don't some people have Sasnovich?
Yeah, there's like 3 people that have Sasnovich on their fantasy teams. Sasnovich a couple of years ago was really just running through matches and doing really well, and then she kind of ebbed and flowed. So it's good to see her winning, right?
Sure.
Question real quick. This has to do with the men's, not the women's. I'm not deviating from that. But there's a match on right now, and it's behind me, and it's Djokovic and Jamur. I have a question for anyone that may know this. Is there any type of I guess you could say a geopolitical importance of a match between a Bosnian and a Serbian? I don't know. I remember there was the Bosnian War and the Yugoslavian and everything else, but what is the kind of equilibrium between the 2 players? Are they? I don't know the answer to it, but I know there was always some type of really big geopolitical issues between the 2. So I wonder if there is a whole lot of heart that comes into these matches. And I know a lot of people out there, they watch matches and they don't know the other person, but they just know the big name. But some of these matches, not in the U.S., because right now U.S. tennis, besides the girls, sucks. Really sucks really bad. But a lot of these other players from their respective countries that meet, there's a lot that goes on mentally, psychologically, patriotically. And I'd be curious to know the importance of both players from a Bosnian and a Serbian standpoint. Anyway, leave that in comments.
See, most of those guys are sleeping right now.
Yeah, they'll be back tomorrow.
They're sleeping, so I'm sure they'll make a comment.
Yeah, we'll see.
Everybody who's on right now, or besides Cam Williams.
Yeah, I expect Ivan, Sergey Jovanovic, and the rest of them to put a comment.
They're all sleeping right now. All right, we're going on to the women's. Lapko. Vera Lapko wins her match against Victoria Golubic. I really hate pronouncing the names.
It's all good. You do a great job.
Mladenovic defeats the youngster Haley Baptiste from the USA 7-5, 6-2, and will face Varvara Gracheva from Russia. Never seen her play. I'm
going to take Mladenovic there. Mladenovic has been someone on the cusp of being great.
That's what I told him. Cam Williams says Djokovic having Ivanisevic as the coach is pretty groundbreaking, I think. That's what I told him. I don't think he would care.
But Cam, what happened to Vajda? I haven't seen kind of Vajda in the stands. I'd love to hear your input on that. Carla mentioned the other day, we see Goran.
Yeah, he thanked him. He said, thank you for being the best coach. And I'm like, where's Vajda?
But don't you think Vajda has been the cornerstone of his manlyhood for a long time?
Yes, basically who made him.
Yeah, you look at Vajda when he's coaching him, he looks like
I would destroy you.
I would destroy you.
I want a coach like that for my kids.
Yeah, and Goran has kind of the same type of mindset. However, there was a film.
Djokovic couldn't bring that many people to the U.S. Open, but you would think he would get rid of one and bring the most important one. That guy.
That's a good point. Who said that? Cam said that.
Wildlife.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. But why would he choose Goran over his?
Well, he could have get rid of one of the other coaches.
Maybe Goran can party longer. He's younger. He's
cooler.
He's cooler.
He looks good. That's why.
Yeah. Now there's a movie. There's a long time. There's like a 20-year-old movie called The Journeyman.
Maybe he didn't make the cut. Laugh out loud. Said Cam. Cam said that he didn't make the cut. He didn't make the cut. He wasn't cool enough.
There's a DVD that you can purchase. You might be able to still find it on Amazon, and it's called Journeyman. And Journeyman was about, I think the title is Journeyman, and underneath it, it's like the worst player to ever beat Pete Sampras. And it shows like this, the typical person like myself or Carla, traveling internationally, trying to win a match, trying to pay the bills. And Goran Ivanisevic made some appearances within that video, along with a very young Boris Becker and a lot of other young pros at that point in time. But from the look of Goran Ivanisevic in that film, and this is 20 years ago, I have a hard time, grasping the fact that Goran has grown up to be not a partier anymore with the long hair, and now Vajda seems like a guy that was always like a warrior, like always a beast, like always in the trenches, ready to go to war. But I've seen Goran 20 years ago behind the scenes, and he was just a party animal. I have a hard time believing Vajda was that way.
Yeah. Cam said, yeah, not sure. No, he said, Wildlife said, I was surprised he chose Goran over Marion. Me too.
Yeah.
I would think you want the real soldier there. Not that Goran Ivanisevic is not, but he just got into his career just the past year.
Even myself and at 42 with 5 kids, sometimes I have to reach out to my dad or mom to put me in check. I don't need to talk to mom or I don't need to talk to dad. But sometimes I get going, get wound up and ready to explode on somebody, and they're like, chill, I think that Vajda would be more of the chill guy.
I agree.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Michael
calm things
Walker
down.
said, I saw the movie The Journeyman. He beat Sampras in Manchester in grass.
Yes. Okay, Michael Walker. I wonder if you're the only other person out there that saw that movie. It's a really good movie.
It is good.
If you haven't seen it, I have it here on DVD. I'll ship it to someone if they want to see it. You can just pass it around. I don't care. But I have that movie here, and it's something I think that everyone should look at. Now, the person that this represents is, he was from a well-off family, and he partied his butt off, and just still tried to make it. I think inevitably he ended up being a coach at some way, shape, or form. But I think any young aspiring tennis player should look at this type of movie and understand that, shit is real. It's not silver spoon
They were
stuff.
struggling before, they're struggling worse now.
Exactly.
Cam said if Nola loses, maybe there's something to say about his choice of coaching staff at the U.S. Open. I bet you people would say that's because you didn't bring Vajda.
That's kind of
because I'm serious. That guy should have been there. In my opinion, out of all the coaches, you got no fans. You've got a lot of pressure to win this slam because the other two are not playing. You want to catch up to them. And if you go down, this was your big opportunity, they're going to say it's because you didn't bring the real coach.
That's kind of a humbling statement, Cam, there. I didn't think about it that way.
What's up, Carteri?
If Djokovic chose whoever, do you think there's any ego wrapped up in it? Do you think maybe Djokovic is like, hey, I'm in New York, I want to hang out with a younger dude? Or
No offense, though. I'm going to say this. I get people have a lot of coaches, but I don't agree with that.
I mean, if you can afford it, why
I don't agree with that because one's giving you this information, the other one's giving you different information. The coaches don't think alike. Some of our junior players, they have a coach that's not like, some of them have like 3 different coaches. Like one coach is just to hit with them, the other one's to do clinics. And I think it's not a good idea because you have different views. You know what I mean? And in a sense, mix information.
Well, there's a couple of shit sandwiches that comes from having multiple coaches. Number one, you teach a kid all summer long, and then they, go back to school for 2 weeks, and they, get coached somewhere else that's a little closer, and then they come back and they're like, hey, well, my coach over here said to change your grip.
I have a lot of students that say that. Well,
it's like, well, then why are you here? Just go to that coach. Just stay with that coach. I don't want to deal with it.
I get a lot of students, and those people, like some of them, I won't mention some of you guys, but the coach that's some area is not even a real coach, and I have to laugh because I'm like, okay, you're just playing with a kid, basically.
Yeah, so the moral of the story is...
I would go with if I was Djokovic, I would go with the coach that got him there.
Yeah, just it keeps it constant.
Yeah.
I mean, for 22 years, Carla, we've had students that will come and we'll spend months with. And then all of a sudden, they'll leave, they'll go to school, we live a little bit away from everybody, they'll come back, and their game will have turned into laziness, hitting off the back foot, full Western grips, 2 hands on the volley, you're just like, holy shit, what the hell happened here? Now you're hitting a 2-handed backhand volley. Now you're hitting full Western. Not that you have a problem with hitting full Western. It's just that you never hit that way. And now when you hit, you're hitting off your back foot and everything's going wide and long. And then you try to correct it and you're saying, well, my coach here said this. And you're just like, holy shit.
Yeah,
you just want to throw
sometimes I'm like,
you just want to throw your hat. Like, why are you even coming here?
Why are you even coming here?
Just go there and deal with that because, whatever. We don't, so many coaches at the junior level, they think they're the hottest thing since sliced bread. And the first thing they do, they meet this new student. Oh, I want to change your grip. Who gives a shit? Just let them hit with the grip that works well for their physiology, their kinesiology, and just move forward. And let's talk about tactics and being aggressive and catching the ball early and moving your feet and getting in shape if you're fat and everything else.
When I was a junior, I had my dad as a coach, and he had hired another coach, because it was hard to work with.
And what happened when they tried to change your grip and everything, Carla?
Well, the ones that did got fired. But the ones that didn't,
stuck around.
They stuck around. But Michael Walker says, I'm a tennis nerd. Did you ever see the movie on Little Mo?
I have not seen that.
Well,
Little Mo though. Now, if you know Michael Walker, and I know Michael Walker is very active in the tennis community, very active and very respectively active. Little Mo, Maureen Conley, dynamite tennis player. I have not seen this movie, but my father, who is 82 years old, born in 1938, played number 1 for the University of California, Riverside from 54 to 58, I think. Anyway, but one of his favorite tennis players of all time was Little Mo, Maureen Conley. So I would love to see it. How do I see it?
Jack Nolte says, I think Osaka will struggle in today's win in 3, but maybe I'm wrong. Isn't she carrying a hamstring injury?
How true is that?
I don't think it was a true. I think she wanted to rest her body, like Justin said. Wildlife says the hamstring is a major question. If her opponent is smart, she will make her move a lot early in the match.
But how true is the injury?
I don't think so. She was going to withdraw from this tournament because she was making a stand. Then she comes back.
And then
all of a sudden she withdraws because of a hamstring. Maybe it did hurt a little bit. I don't think so. I think she wanted to rest.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Again, we talked about Osaka and her stance, and we respected that wholeheartedly. But it was just a little coincidental that she withdrew because of a belief, and we applauded that. Then she was drawn back into it after a discussion with the WTA and the tournament. And then all of a sudden she withdrew again with injury. So we know how many players withdraw from majors prior to and tournaments that precede those warm-ups, etc., because of so-called injuries, because there's loopholes in their contracts from their sponsors. I think the Japanese viewers gave Osaka a lot of grief about that, and there was a lot of stuff on Twitter and Instagram, not that I follow a lot of it, but it was plastered in my face, where even her country of Japan was giving her grief about quitting. Now, I'm not going to get into a World War II lesson at all, but the Japanese used to fly themselves into airplanes, into battleships at all costs to risk their lives and soul for the proliferation of their emperor and their country and their imperial type nation and army. Now, it's really hard for someone to want to quit for the Japanese when, and I only say this because, again, my father was a Navy pilot, and the Navy pilots and all the pilots and any military worldwide, I don't care where it is, have mad respect for the Japanese. Why? Because they risk life with pride. The Japanese, I kid you not, the wife and kids would come out and hug their husband. I love you, and I will not see you again because you're fixing to fly yourself into a ship. So in other words, there is no quitting in Japan. There is absolute fight to the death, and we will do it with pride. And then you are going to quit. But that's not my words. That's historically correct. So the kamikazes were not happy with Osaka wanting to quit because we fight to the death no matter what. Right?
All right, cool. Well.
Anyway, but
Cam Williams said, I had that issue coaching the start of the year. My last coach said this drove me crazy because they've had bad habits and not want to change. Then he says the right grip won't help a bad mentality.
It won't. It won't. Read that again. Read that again right there.
I had that issue.
No, time out. I want to read that comment again, and I hope the majority of our students will listen or watch this later. Read that again.
I had that issue coaching the start of the year. My last coach said this drove me crazy because they had bad habits and not want to change. The right grip won't help a bad mentality.
Absolutely incredible statement. Mm-hmm. Absolutely incredible statement. You get kids, we get kids, every coach gets kids, and they come out, they left one coach, they're not playing that well, they keep losing, they go to another coach, and this coach, is like, change the grip. Changing your grip or tweaking it from Western to semi-Western, Eastern.
Thanks, Michael Walker, I just got your text.
It's not going to change the mindset of bad habits and laziness. It doesn't matter. If you cannot create an athlete with happy feet, moving, busting their ass, the grip is not going to do anything but make everything worse. Great comment.
Michael Walker just sent me the text to watch it free on YouTube.
Oh, I'm watching that after the show.
The other thing that I find really funny, that the American kids think because the coach is from Europe or they're Spanish,
that they're going to be better.
They're going to be really good coaches.
Yeah. I got a Spanish coach. I'm going to be lights out.
I think that's hilarious. I'm Spanish. It doesn't mean anything. So what? So what? I'm sorry. I had to say that. I see that so many people like, last time I went to get hired because I was Spanish.
Yeah.
But you had no idea what my skills were. That's what I'm saying. I go to these tournaments and I see all these kids. They have a Spanish coach. They hire a Spanish coach. So what?
So?
If they were so freaking good, they'd be on a freaking tour, #1.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So
stop being an idiot.
Over the past 10 years, and
it's hilarious.
Yeah. Over the past 10 years,
holy crap,
we've been coaching together. I can't tell you how many times people will go to Carla just right out of the blue. Oh, you're Spanish. You must be a great coach, and leave the white dude out of the freaking picture. It doesn't matter that you coached it for your entire life, but it's highly funny, I guess you could say.
Thank you, Curling. I wrote it down.
It's highly comical in
It's
the,
so stupid,
the U.S.
man.
Most of the snooty parents think if
They
you're
go hire
Spanish,
the Spanish coach. I'm
you,
like, geez, are you dumb? Hire the coach is good.
even
Don't
though
go by the race.
even though they have no qualifications, even if they were a great player, but
they were college players, so therefore they must be
they
good
must
coaches.
be great. So you get some European player, no disrespect to country or whatever, but you get some player that's foreign in the U.S. and they can talk like this and whatever. They may be the worst coach ever, but if they can roll up into the club or the local city facility and talk with an accent, even if they're a lazy-ass, dumb-ass coach that sends his minion out to babysit the courts, they may not be the best coach. Just because you can talk a certain way doesn't mean you're really anything whatsoever. Do you agree?
Yeah, I
And we
agree.
hear it all the time.
I see it. I'm so stupid,
So
man. No
dumb.
wonder the American kids are not improving.
Yeah.
Anyways, Wildlife said Djokovic won, although he seemed oddly frustrated tonight. And Yastremsko win and Roger also won. I wrote
That's
it down. We were trying to get to the draws. I told Justin it's kind of boring to say each match. We used to do this before because you guys are watching the match. I just want to mention the important match.
We used to go through every match and it would go
And I
on
think,
for
to
like
me,
3
I
hours.
find it boring. So I just want to mention that Kvitova won. We expected that. Yastremsko just
Kontaveit
won.
pulled one out.
Yeah, we already mentioned that. Sevastova. Lynette, which many of you guys have, won tonight. Let's look at the men's.
Let's go. Good conversation about that. Though.
Djokovic wins, and he will face Edmund. That's his next opponent.
He's gonna destroy Edmund.
Edmund Big Bublik tonight. Corina Busta had a battle to win. I almost thought he was going to lose. He faces Kruger. Freddy Krueger.
Hey, okay, so one of our fantasy team players picked Dennis Kopfer, who's a German player, and that's Philly Cheese Dog, who's not one of our students, but he is one of the juniors in the area. He doesn't train with us at all, but he's a really good kid.
He's a good kid.
He's got a really good younger brother that's a really good player at 10.
They're both good players.
He's got a wonderful family. His dad's a really nice guy, physician, and his mother was a figure skater, I think, but they're German. And I think historically they're German.
Yes.
So with that said, and their grandparents rock. The grandma and grandpa are tough customers. But so he sends in his fantasy team picks, and he picks Kopfer.
I had to ask him, who's Kopfer?
Well, I heard the name, but I didn't even see him in the draw when I went through it. And I didn't realize, by the way, that Taylor Fritz was seeded 19 in the tournament. So I was writing down everybody's fantasy team picks, and a couple people picked Fritz. And I always draw a line between the people seated inside the top 20 and those outside the top 20. And so I just, dumb me, Fritz, I'm like, damn, I would play Fritz and try to beat his ass. But I mean, I'm just saying, I didn't think he was 19 in the world. I would give him a shot, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is he picked Kopfer. Unfortunately, Kopfer lost. I had messaged personally. Who's Philip? His name, Philly Cheese Dog. He picked Kopfer, and Kopfer won the first set against Fritz, and then it went the other way after that. But nonetheless, it was really nice to see someone that's German in terms of heredity and so forth, at least the majority of the family, I guess, or half of it, pick someone like that and put their faith in them. But great pick, but it just didn't happen.
Yep. Barankis wins. Shapovalov had a good fight against Petra Korda's son, Sebastian Korda. They went to 4 sets. Shapovalov will face Kwan. Fritz wins. The other one that I found interesting here was there was a few people that did anyone pick Krajinovic? It wasn't Krajinovic. No. Lajovic went down. The Serbian goes down.
Yeah, only one person out of like 40 players picked Lajovic. A lot of us picked Krajinovic, by the way, because he's had a really kind of good kind of warm up to this tournament.
Yeah.
Don't forget about the demolition that Tsitsipas dealt out.
Yeah, and Schwartzman goes down to Cameron Norrie. Ouch.
Is that really a shock, though?
Well, first round, it is a shock. Ouch. Someone picked Novak, too. Dennis Novak. He goes down to Davidovich.
Yeah, that was a bad pick.
Hurkacz wins. Manarino wins. Jack Sock won. Zverev won. Surprise, he won.
Can't believe that.
He'll face Nakashima next.
So, yeah.
Let me read a few here. Osaka.
Yeah, read comments.
Lexco says Osaka grew up and trained into a great player in the U.S., so her mentality is more American than Japanese. Her decision to play as Japanese was financial. Agree. Yeah, agree totally.
So what is he Japanese?
Lexco? I don't think so, but he can answer that himself.
I would love to hear.
Michael Walker says, when I was a kid, I was dressed head to toe like Beyond Board. Fila suit, Diadora sneakers, and I was an average playing at best, but I look marvelous.
There you go. There's an old saying, look good, feel good, play good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel you, bro.
First 09 said Osaka moved a little bit and got injured. She is never mobile.
Did Fergie get his picks in?
Yeah, he did.
He got
He
him?
definitely got his pick. Jack Nosey said Goff had 13 to 14 double faults today. Her serve was a weakness. And that is true. Anytime your first serve is not going in or you're double faulting, you're in big trouble. And in junior tennis and pro tennis, it doesn't matter.
I wonder if Kara could listen to that.
I'm serious. Mary Michael, her dad said she was doing well, but she was double faulting. Double faulting never helps. My son in this tournament could not get a first serve in. There you go. His first serve was in the 30 percentile.
Yeah, still only lost by 2 points. But nonetheless.
Yeah. Michael Walker says Coco needed to lose to get some negative energy in her teams. True. Yeah. She's gonna feel what it. Yeah.
And with that
early fame can be too bad.
And without a crowd, it's difficult. I think Coco Gauff's successes have in a large part been because of the crowd. I'm not saying that solely, but
she's not the most spectacular player. I mean, I've seen other players, juniors, that you were like, wow.
But when the crowd, when she made her runs, was it Wimbledon, whatever?
I didn't think it was like.
Well, the crowd lifted her. The crowd was behind her and invigorated the situation, right?
Agree.
So anyway, the crowd is going to spoil a lot of people's gusto in this tournament. Could it happen for Medvedev? I think out of the some 40 odd, I forget the number, but I think there's like 40 people playing for the tennis racket and the fantasy teams, and I think almost all 40, except myself, picked Medvedev to square off against Djokovic in the final and Djokovic to win that final. I didn't go there. I thought Bautista Agut was it Bautista Agut that I picked?
I think so.
I think so. Bautista Agut. I felt that Bautista Agut had a better shot of going tit for tat. Like, let's throw the gloves off. Let's grind it out. Let's fight to the death. Kamikaze style. I thought Bautista Agut had a better chance from a standpoint of let's fight to the death than I did anybody else. So I chose him. I didn't think Medvedev without a crowd would have been able to turn his negative energy that the crowd dealt out to him last year into a positive. If there was no crowd there last year when he made his run, do you think the outcome would have been the same? Do you think he would have gone away without the crowd, or do you think the crowd, even though it was negative, enabled him to come out positive? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, the crowd has a lot to do with it. I'm trying to see if there's other matches. Kutsenseva's up 3-0, or Rogers just won. Bellis is down. I mean, I guess tonight, who's playing? Risk, Osaka, Pagula, Buskova, Brady's playing. Okay, so the only match I'm really interested in is Osaka. And the men's, anybody interesting playing that's left? Struff is about to win. Cecchinaro's out. Lloyd Horace.
I'm guessing Djokovic had the main, the prime time match, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's it.
Anyway, all right. So anyway, we didn't even plan to do this. We were coaching. It started raining. We came in and we just threw the camera up. So maybe it was lackluster, maybe not. But hopefully everybody's well.
Good point, Michael Walker. I remember when Steffi Graf was 16, people were saying she was overhyped because by 1986 she hadn't won a tournament and had never beaten ever or Navratilova. By the end of 1987, her record was 77-2. But Steffi Graf is a much more talented, in my opinion, than Corey Goff. Much more. And it was a different era.
Different era, yeah.
But different era. There was no cell phones, social media, worrying about this shoot, that shoot, being with Patrick Mataglu. It was different. You know what I mean? There's a lot more stuff that can, right now she's making a stand. She's fighting for what's right. She has pressure from her parents. Yeah, no, I think it's different this time.
So the distractions are more real than they were prior to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Any other comments, questions, anything like that? I mean, I'm totally chill. I don't really have terribly much to do until on the court at 9 a.m. for the whole day, and I look forward to that. If Kara's out there,
Tomorrow's actually gonna be a busy day.
I'm gonna destroy her tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So if she's out there, it's gonna be rough.
All right.
Anyway, much love to all of you guys. Also, too, I'm so very proud of my oldest son, Jonathan, who's at the Air Force Academy and made the Division I team. He worked really hard for a long time.
He'll learn a lot with those guys.
There was a lot of grief I put on him. There was a lot of moments where I would grab him up and be like, what the? I put him through a lot, and I'm glad he was able to separate himself from me for a while. I think that's probably what he needed. I pushed on Jonathan so hard about academics. In my house, by the way, he was in all AP and what they call these Cambridge classes. And if they brought home anything less than an A, there was absolutely freaking hell to pay. I never got him a cell phone. These cell phones, I never got him one until he was already accepted into the Air Force Academy, and I said, now you need one. He did not get a cell phone until he was a senior, period, in discussion. If he talked to his mother bad, I would put him up against the refrigerator, and I'd be like, I dare you to do that again. If he was on the tennis court and was double faulting too much, I'd bring him into the car and say, I bet you won't do that again. If he was missing shots or got bent out of shape, I'd grab him up and say, I bet you won't do that again. So I went round and around with that young man, but nonetheless, he made the D1 team, and I think that's why we do it. So
get ready, Christopher, because you're next.
So for all of you out there that listened to me rant yesterday, by the way, because of some cheesy, snooty people, thank you for listening. I won't get back into that. But the reason why I don't do that snooty crap is because I've been around this game for too damn long. There's a million kids out there that can whack a ball standing in the center of the court. There's a million kids that can whack a forehand sitting at the center hash mark and get it in the court. But when you move them around and piss them off and frustrate them, usually they fall apart. And that's the only thing I try to instill in Jonathan and now Christopher. I don't take losing well. My job is to win. And when I lose, I don't care if I'm coaching or playing. If I lose big.
I'm not happy that they lost.
So,
and as a matter of fact, because of that loss, I'm changing my daughter's backhand to two-handed.
Yeah, we're going to go back to the drawing board tomorrow.
Two-handed backhand. I think the one-handed backhand is too much.
But so incredibly proud of Jonathan nonetheless. If he was here, I'd give him a hug instead of throwing him up against the refrigerator, telling him to work harder. Because he earned it, and that's plain and simple. And there is no getting to that point, D1 tennis or whatever, of baiting draws up and massaging your kids and making sure no one's coaching someone else from the sidelines. That's shit tennis and shit coaching and being stupid. Hard work, pay off, get your grind on, handle your business. Don't take shit from nobody. I mean, get down. That's it. That's why I say let's go. That's why my shirt says let's go. Because if you don't seize the opportunity, guess what? Someone else will. You don't seize an opportunity, you think someone else is going to do it? Abso-freaking-lutely. So my end of the story is work hard, bust your ass. Otherwise, someone else will. That's it. Paid off for me with Jonathan. First kid down, D1, let's go. Next up. Right on?
Right on.
Let's
Bye,
go.
guys.
Peace.
We're going to watch the rest of the matches and hopefully tomorrow some good matches. Adios.